Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing an apple speed build. My name is Taya and this is Glennie. This is the space that we're working with here where those three apple trees were. But we're going to be kind of breaking through and creating a path into it from here, taking down some of the trees. It's just up from this park area, so we'll need an entrance that comes from the staircase below. And then we'll make another entrance from this side so you can enter it from two different ways. And this is the big space that we're working with. It's bigger than some of the other fruit builds that I've done here before, so I'm really excited. Apples are my favorite fruit in the game. I'm ecstatic to share this build with you, so let's get into it. I start by squaring off the corner back here so that I can add fencing and whatnot. So just adding in one block, that's the extent of the terraforming for this video. And I'm going to quickly rip down all the trees and bushes in this area. Also get rid of the in-game pathing that I was using under everything for some reason at one point. Already my pockets are full, so we're off to a good start. Just need to move this tree back literally one space so that it can be even with the other ones. And I'm realizing it's a little open on this left-hand side, so putting up another tree and making the entrance a little bit farther over to this side, just so it feels a little bit more enclosed on the entranceway. Checking it, that's a common theme in this whole video, is I'll be running back to that staircase. I do experiment with the stone path, but it just is too cold looking for the fruit trees. And I am torn between the brick or the wooden path. And I end up choosing the wooden path because it feels more red than orange. I feel like it feels like a cherry wood in a way that complements the red of the apples. I also use this flooring for the cherry speed build. And so it just goes really nicely with the red. It has that dark tone that looks really rich. I also really like the sound that it makes underfoot. So we went with tulips again. I know I used tulips in the pear build, but I used tulips again for the apples. I think they're a very versatile plant because they're very plain looking for these builds. So really any red flower would be really great. And I'm looking into some custom codes. So I decided not to use this one, but I did include it in the video because I think it's beautifully done. And you'll see me put that onto a simple panel and try to push it into behind a stall to make it look like there's some apples stacked. However, it just doesn't exactly suit. I don't know if it's the color of simple panel that I'm using, but yeah. So I'm customizing this stall and I actually end up using one of Abel's patterns, one of Sable's patterns. So I use the apple and then I customize it in green because the furniture that I'm using is the wooden furniture set for this build. And there's a green customization that almost is the same color of green as this stall. And I think it's so cute. And I use the country fencing. I didn't just use the country fencing because it was the last fencing that I had available after doing all these fruit builds. But I think it suited that more cute, rustic vibe that I was going for, more of the orchard feel. I know this isn't an actual orchard, but I just wanted it to have that kind of farmer's market vibe, that like more rural area feeling, if that makes sense. So this is that panel, and I actually did get inspiration to use this panel and another one that I didn't end up using in this screenshot here that I will show, and I'll put the creator's name. It's a beautiful build, and I actually thought that mine would mimic it much more closely, but it ended up going in a completely different direction, which I feel like is much more in line with the way that I like to design, much more cute. So, but that is the inspiration for this whole build. Actually, I think that was one of the first times that I had seen the fruit in any way used on an island that I found inspiring. So definitely shout out to that creator for sharing that. Really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who shares in this community because it's just so, this game is so much fun and there's so many things you can do. You can create the same, almost exactly the same ideas as another person and they turn out completely different because it's all your own personal interpretation of how you take those same exact items and use them in a different way, which is so cool. So I'm placing the apple chairs with a wooden mini table in between them. And I have 3 different customizations of the wooden mini table, as well as 3 different customizations that match them with the wooden stools. And I'm kind of interchanging them so that there's a green and a red and a natural color in the same area, so it feels very fun. So I think I end up adding a natural one in front of this green stall, and then I add another couple seating areas where I switch up the stool colors, and it's super cute. As per usual, I have to scavenge every single apple off of my island during this build because I've realized that I want more chairs, I've realized that I need another apple hat, etc, etc. So I'm just pillaging all of the apples, including the ones in the actual build. I lost an apple there, which was unfortunate, but that's fine. I had the amount of apples that I needed to create one more apple hat and one more apple chair. So I end up customizing 2 of those apple chairs to be green because I wanted the different color customizations for both sets. So I have 2 apple chairs, a red and a green paired together on the top, and then 2 apple chairs, a red and a green paired together on the bottom. And I do, as usual, struggle a little bit to get the colors in the spot that I want so that there's enough variety and it doesn't feel too repetitive. For example, like all of the green apple chairs are on their side, or all the green apple chairs, like I've left it right now, are on the right hand side, and all the red are on the left. So I do go back and forth and switch it quite a bit, but in these smaller areas on your island, I find these are the areas that I tend to touch and fiddle with the most, are the small spots, because the organization of many items can come down to the difference of a half a spot, and that can make a huge difference on how the space looks and how it flows. For example, I'm running through back and forth to get the flow of it. Like, what is the flow gonna look like in this island? So now I'm putting the creator of this crate on screen. So in the other builds, I actually used a different creator for the crates, but in this one, I found a really detailed post by this person. I found it fascinating that they actually outlined the actual design that you could do. If you don't have Nintendo Online, you can recreate this for yourself, which is so cool. And they just have a lot of creative stuff there on Twitter, so go follow them, go give them a like. I thought that I was going to use 2 crates, but I actually ended up just going for 1 and centering it behind. And it's not very visible in this build, the crate. I think it just adds enough detail behind the stall to feel full and to feel more realistic with that crate back there. So definitely love that one for sure. And I'm using, again, the Anthurium plant. I don't know if it's my favorite plant in the game. I think I like the Monstera a little bit better. I think that's my real favorite. But it comes in so many colors that it makes it so versatile. I used the pink for the peaches. I used the green one for the pears. And so it's just, I really love the way that it looks. It's just really cute. So I use that there. And I'm pushing around these tables, moving the stools so that I have the different color variations next to each one. For example, I don't want to have a green in front of the green stall. And even the fact that this table is green and the stall behind it is green, I believe I do end up changing that eventually as well over to the red one and putting the green on the left-hand side. But we'll get there. Making sure that everything looks good. It's crazy that this is the last fruit build on my island. I feel like I've been doing this for a month now. All these fruit furniture builds. It's been so much fun to put these together. I never would have maybe done this if I wasn't making a video about it, because I found it very interesting that there was all these fruit sets that I don't really see a whole lot of people using in isolation. I see them every once in a while on Kidcore Islands, a fruit furniture item thrown in, but to see just each one of the fruits represented in an area, it's just so fun. I don't know what to say. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm puffing myself up, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I think apple is also my favorite fruit. I kind of did them in order of my least favorite to my favorite on purpose so that I would keep momentum and get to the end. And apples, especially because I was pairing them with the wooden furniture, which is my favorite furniture set. The wooden furniture is so flexible. I said that about the Iron Garden furniture, didn't I? Yes, I did. I don't have a favorite maybe then, but as far as DIY furniture goes, this set is so versatile with the amount of customizations that it has. Same with the Iron Garden furniture, really. I think both of those ones are just super versatile, but I love the stools. I love how there's a variety in this set too. You could easily use the wooden chairs too. The reason why I chose to use the wooden set with the apple specifically is just like, look at these color customizations. You have green, you have red, and you have that tan, the natural coloring. And each of those colors is represented in apple furniture itself. So it just, all of these three colors really work well together, I think. I'm really getting there. I think I'm almost done. I do put that street lamp down, and then eventually I end up putting a flower there and not replacing the street lamp, but I do put it back on my island when I'm actually off camera. So it does get back there eventually. And I'm testing the walkway there. I'm just walking back and forth to make sure that it's not too tight of a squeeze, that I can still make it through. I'm so happy with it right now because if you've watched any of the other fruit builds, you know how much I can struggle with getting the items exactly the way that I want them, and comparatively, the apple area came together so quickly. I didn't end up moving the areas that drastically. Once I got them outlined where I wanted them to go, it was pretty straightforward, and I think I find restaurant builds easier than just chill out spots. If I know in my mind that it's gonna look more like a restaurant, then my mind is already, okay, tables and chairs. Then we're just gonna need a couple groupings of tables and chairs, done. And I find it a lot simpler, whereas with the pear one, especially because it was a little bit more abstract of a concept with beds and a wardrobe outside, I think it still turned out amazing, but it was a little bit of a challenge. Yeah, and just rounding it out with some hedges, deciding that this bush has got to go, this shrub, and just doing hedges instead because then I can create that nice entry flow. I'll find a shovel eventually. And I do put a full-size tree. I mean, maybe it would work if you wanted to have that feel like a very private restaurant, but I just thought it covered too many of the actual items. So I went and got a sapling to put in there, and I end up stunting it at 3 days. And I don't know if I'm gonna let it grow 1 day farther, but I think I like the 3-day tree the best there. It's very cute. And doing my classic, removing a section of the path to add some flowers into the actual build. Again, so sad that they patched that pathing glitch where you could put like trees and flowers on top of the in-game path. Oh, I have it in 2 spots at the front of my island, and it kind of kills me that I can't have it anywhere else now, and I wish that I had gone all out. They didn't actually remove those items though, so they do have the in-game pathing underneath, but yeah. So that was me adding that flower over into the pathway area. Just really the final touches now, just kind of moving things to get them into the exact right position that I like. And I switch the chairs out so that the green apple is the one that you're seeing the back of, and then the red apple you're seeing the front of, so that only the red apples are the ones that are really standing out, because I felt like it was too green and not representing apples well, if that makes sense. I don't know if anybody else thinks about things in such an OCD way. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are people. So this is the moment of truth. Look at this. Look at this balloon. And I try to hit it. Like a fool, I try to hit it at this point. No, you want to wait, but it just works out perfectly. I did not intend for it to land there or to keep it in this build, but look at that. The second that I saw it, that it landed in that perfect spot, I was like, well, That's staying there forever. Let's put a hedge there and call it a day. So pretty much I just left it there, and it does drive me a little bit bonkers when I walk by and there's just a package on the floor because I want to pick it up so bad. But man, the colors, I can't. I have to leave it there forever now. That's just all there is to it. And we're putting the final flower on the final table and we're done. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to show you guys this, even though you just literally watched me build it. I'm like, it's super close to Nook's Cranny and my other small bakery cafe. I call this like the Starbucks of my island, legitimately one of my favorite parts. So right up from that, one of my new favorite parts of my island. So please let me know what you guys think in the comments. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. I stunted this tree here. I'm not sure if I would prefer a 4-day tree, but I think the 3-day is really cute. And I think maybe the 4-day with the 3 little branches would have been too tall and probably would cover this apple dress. I did, as you noticed, shoot down a present exactly in that spot. I wanted to pick it up so bad, and even now, it kind of low-key stresses me out to have it just sitting on the ground, but it is so perfect in that area. I can't. I also love that you can see a bit of my house in the back. I also love that you can see a bit of my little workshop area. I've really enjoyed making these small areas on my island and putting fences next to them so you get that depth down to another layer of the island and you kind of get a view out to the side a little bit. I'm really happy with how this turned out. So that concludes all of the fruit builds on my island. If you haven't checked them out, I'll link them below, and I'll also link to the playlist in the cards at the end. So we started with coconut, then we went to cherry, pear, orange, and then peach and apple. So all 6 fruits that you can find on your island, I've made a build for. I am so happy whenever I walk past these areas on my island now. They just make me feel so happy, and I highly recommend them. They don't take up a lot of space, and they really make my island feel like that lived in feeling. I also have many other builds to finish this island, small spots just to get it all cleaned up and finished. Stay tuned. Click subscribe and let's see where Glenny goes from here, and we can do it together. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.